Microsoft earnings are coming out next week, so I'm going to be trading options for that earnings play, whether it's calls or puts. I'm going to do the deep dive in this video, and I'm going to turn a couple $100 into $5,000 in one day. Now, to do this, I need to do a deep dive into the company, find out what the earnings potential is going to look like, whether it's going to be bullish or bearish, because this is going to be a make or break situation on playing these earnings. It's very, very risky. So let's start off by just going over a quick disclaimer. This is a trade I am doing not for anyone else to follow and replicate, as options are very risky. If my pick is wrong, I will lose my entire investment. It's not financial advice and not recommended. So let's dig right into here. I have my notes laid out on how I'm going to do this deep dive in today's video, all the information I'm going to look at, pros and cons, possible option scenarios, and then at the end of the video, I'm going to be picking an option that I will be buying, whether it's calls or puts. So stay for the whole video if you want to see how exactly I'm going to play these earnings, because like we saw with Netflix, a $100 investment turned into $6,500 in one day. And that's what I'm trying to replicate, because this is earnings season and a lot of these big companies are dropping earnings next week. So I'm going to be doing a bunch of these videos, so make sure to subscribe if you want to see an inside look before I get into the option strategy and my results of whether I was right or wrong. I will either be eating ramen noodle soup or ribeye steak after the results post from their earnings and what the call or put options do. So looking at my calendar here, we could see we have, let me move this up a bit. We had Tesla kill it in earnings, and they jumped up more than 5%. It was 11%. And the options, I have a video screen grab I did of how they popped, of how the option turned out. So we can see right here, this is a $730 option. Right when the market opened, here we go, it instantly turned into a $2,000 option, $2,800, $2,300. So very volatile right when the market opened, because Tesla jumped up 10% after their great earnings yesterday. So that's the potential. That's with Tesla, a $1,000 stock. So these stocks that are trading for a couple $100 are going to be even more rewarding, just like we saw with Netflix. So I have Microsoft coming up on the 26th, and then the 27th I have Facebook and PayPal, and then Apple on the 28th. So these are all the companies I'll be deep diving. So make sure, again, you subscribe to see how these turn out, because this is going to be a wild ride. First, I want to do some deep diving into Microsoft, and let's dig right in and find out what's going to happen with Microsoft. Is it going to be bullish or bearish, and how am I going to play it to capitalize on these rewards? And I'm only putting a couple $100 on the line. Might be $100, might be $200. Small investments, because with options, you will lose it all. So I'm okay losing a couple $100 if the upside is a couple $1,000, maybe $5,000, $6,000 like Netflix. So first, looking at the chart for Microsoft, we are trading at 286, and I actually like this because everything did spike up after Tesla opened at 11%, and now it's pulling down. What's Tesla at? Let's see, Tesla's at 6%, so it did pull down quite a bit. So Microsoft did fall out of this channel that it trended in for quite a while. It broke above, and then it changed its direction. So the new channel is probably, let me see, probably in here. So running more sideways after this very hot bullish run after 2020. We're running in this zone, and I think we'll end up making a new trend line. I don't think we'll follow this green trend anymore. With that being said, trading at 286, so I'm getting a better price on my options, as if I was to buy it earlier up here, it would be down. I always like buying options on red days. It's going to help your percent gains when earnings come out. So bullish and bearish scenarios, it looks like based on previous earnings, like for example, this one here, they did very well on earnings, and this was right here along this spike. So we could get an idea of how much they can move up in the day, which was about 4%, 4 to 5%. So that's a good move. So we're going to base that on next earnings, that it's going to move up or down 5%. Let me clear all this out. So if we are right now at 286, 5% will end us there. And on the bearish side, 5% will end us there. Let me just draw some lines because it didn't let me know what the price was. Okay, so that's our two targets, 270 or 299, whether I want to go bullish or bearish. Now I have to look at all the data and see what I think the possible outcome is on the earnings play, what direction analysts think it's going to go, what do the financials look like, let's dig into this deeply. First thing I'm looking at here is their financials, just an overview on TradingView. Anyone can pull this up. TradingView is phenomenal for pretty much everything. But looking at the financials for Microsoft, market cap 2.19 trillion. They do dividends. I believe it's like 60 cents. So we can see earnings. They are on Q3 of 2022 for their earnings drop. That's what I'm looking to trade. So the estimate is 219. Previously, their estimate was 232, and they beat it. So I like that they lowered expectations, so it's going to be easier to possibly post a beat. And it is below the last 2 quarters, and it's about just on line with Q4 of 2021, which is where they posted. This green dot is right along the line of this gray dot. So they're looking to post the same amount of earnings that they did almost exactly a year ago. So that is bullish in the sense. Balance sheet looks like debt to asset percent going down, assets staying about the same, liabilities slightly the same, maybe a drip lower. Income statement, let's see, revenues going up, net income decent, profit margins went down a bit. So that's quarterly view. Annual view looks bullish all around on all 3 criteria. All right, so this actually looks overall slightly bullish. Now I'm also going to look at the put call ratio activity for what other traders are looking to do. This is a good idea to gauge what other investors, which way they're leaning, whether it's bullish or bearish. So I like to look at the volume and the open interest. So we're looking at 429, so this line. So today we got a lot more volume on calls, open interest, almost doubling, off a little bit. Looks like it's in favor of call options for open interest. Implied volatility 45. So this looks bullish as well. So we're bullish on 2 fronts. We could just add in bullish for 429 options. We don't need this. All right, previous earnings, we're not there yet. Let's look up some analyst ratings, and then we will dig into possible option scenarios. Okay, just looking at NASDAQ's website for an analyst rating, we have, based on 26 analysts offering recommendations for Microsoft in the last 3 months, and they have a strong buy rating, which is very good. We could see all of the analysts here. Barclays, Citigroup, JP, Morgan Stanley, all the big names are in here, Wells Fargo. So an analyst looks like the average, let me see, based on analysts offering 12-month price targets for Microsoft in the last 3 months, the average price target is 373. So that's massive. So that's massive, with a high estimate of 411 and low estimate of 320. So even on the low end of all the analysts, they're looking at 320, and Microsoft is trading at 286. So a lot of upside here. This is the average that they've been predicting over the year. And I love the high end, the low end. But these can be skewed because they obviously probably have positions and they obviously want it to go up. This doesn't necessarily mean that it will go up. So we can't use that fully, but I'm going to plug it in here. Analyst ratings. We're going to just do 320 to 411. Very bullish. So that's good. Options, activity, leaning towards, damn it, calls. No cons yet, so that's good. Okay, looking at insider activity, people on the board, etc., whoever owns the stock that works for the company. So number of shares bought in the last 3 months, 4,000 and 600,000 over 12 months. More importantly, we want to look at this one. Number of shares sold, 116,000. So this is our first red flag as far as buying puts would go, or buying calls would go. This is leaning more towards a put strategy. Why are so many of them selling? All trades here. Let's just switch this to buys. So looks like more recently in January, it probably wasn't reported. for what we're looking at now. But price of when they sold, 311, 295, 236, or when they bought. And this is sells. So we have a lot more sells from officers, directors. So we could pull these people up individually. Automatic sell. Let's see what the value is. Price, traded shares. It's a lot. 7,000 shares. Okay, still holding a lot of shares. This guy, this officer dumped a lot. Okay, so I mean, yeah, we could pull these people up and see their importance and where they are on the board or within the company. But a lot of shares being sold. I mean, Microsoft has been downtrending very ugly, just like every other stock has been. But with the bump in Tesla recently, that might have turned things around for these top 100 companies. And Microsoft is majority weight of SPY. So that's important that they go up and save the markets like Tesla did. And Tesla's still selling off now. It's at 5.8%. So this could be a put scenario. This is the first bearish sign. I should actually name this calls and puts. So cons, insiders selling more than buying. Now I'm going to look at the last quarter, how their earnings looked a little closer on here. This is their PDF of their earnings financial summary. We could see it broken down in a little more detail. So we got productivity and business processes, 19% growth, which is really good. More personal computing, all right, revenue, 20% growth, very good. Gross margin, 20%. Operating income, 24%. All Microsoft numbers look so good. That's why I think they're top 5. They're probably like 2 or 3 in SPY. Net income, diluted earnings per share. Quarterly commercial highlights, so we could see how they improved. Let's see here. Okay, so they did really well in Q3 of 2021, slight decline. And the last quarter they picked it back up, which might make the numbers look not as good for this quarter. So this could be a slightly bearish scenario, leaning more towards buying puts for Q3. All right, let's see what else. So cash return to shareholders, $10.9 billion. Return to shareholders up 9% year over year, with $6.2 billion in share repurchases and $4.7 billion, massive number here, in dividends. So everyone holding dividends, $4.7 billion was paid out to those investors. Huge numbers. All right, let's move on here, see if there's anything else that's important to look at. Server products. This is one thing I'm interested in. I think cloud computing is going to be bigger in the future. I really like cloud stocks. Server products and cloud services revenue increased 29% by Azure and other cloud services revenue growth of 46%. So that's really good. Windows OEM revenue increased as well. That's really good, 25%. All good numbers there. Investor metrics, let's see what we got here. 14%. I like that these numbers are lower because it leaves more room for improvement if the numbers aren't as great. So we don't want to be competing against something like 20%. We want to be competing against a 14 or even 11 for the numbers to be more bullish. Total revenue grew by 19%, driven by Office 365 and LinkedIn. These numbers are massive. Investor metrics on cloud looks good. Okay, I mean, all these numbers look really good. So for Q2, we're looking very bullish if we're looking to do calls, which I'm leaning more towards calls, probably 5-1 as far as ratio goes in my mind of how I'm going to play it. And again, earnings release Tuesday, 4/26, which is next week after the market closes. So momentarily, I'll be buying my option, whether it's a call or put, and I will be posting the results after earnings come out the next day. I'll be doing the results because I have to wait until the market opens to see how well the option did, whether I lost it on I'm eating ramen noodle soup, or I made a good return and I'll be eating that ribeye. Post in the comments as well any more input you have on some good strategies or any other input you could find as to, or in a way that could help decide the best scenario for playing options. Okay, we do have some news that just came out, looks like 3 hours ago. Kraft Heinz, the ketchup maker, and Microsoft joined forces to accelerate supply chain innovation as part of broader digital transformation. Okay, this news just dropped. Let's try and get a quick highlight. Oh, here we go. Azure. We were just talking about Kraft will migrate majority of its global data center assets to Azure. Oh, wow. Okay, and its enterprise resource planning software to SAP on Azure. Okay, this is pretty good news. Heinz, obviously everyone knows they're huge. Primary example of how the companies will collaborate is creation of supply chain control tower for Kraft Heinz. That's incredible. Really good news. This just dropped. So this is another bullish scenario. Bullish scenario, sorry. We're going to add this here. News dropped of Heinz partnership today. Okay, so that's good. Let's see if the stock is being affected at all from this news. Microsoft, let's zoom in a bit. It just came out. No, it's not really being affected yet. Still selling off. Let's see how the overall market's doing. Yeah, the overall market is fully selling off. So that's not Microsoft's fault. That's the market, because Tesla, a lot of profit taking, and now shorts are probably piling on. All right, let's look at options and see which way I'm going to trade this now. I think I'm leaning more on the bullish side. I don't think Microsoft is going to post bad earnings. Let's look at previous earnings here. So 6% beat, 1% or 2% beat, 9%, 3%. Let's look at their expectations here. Estimate 232. They beat it. And estimate on this one is 219, lower estimate. So I'm looking at a call option around $300. So let's go back here and let's do Microsoft April 29th call options for around $300. So we're looking at a 285 call. Let's see where it was yesterday. It was at 248, so I might be able to get a better price. It was at a high of 445. So I'm going to be waiting to place my order because I think SPY is going to continue to sell off. The overall market is going to continue to sell off, and I'll be buying the $300 call for April 29th, unless something shifts in the market. I need to switch that up. But I have a Discord chat as well where I constantly am in there talking about what I'm doing. So if you want to know every minute of the day of what I'm doing with this option strategy play, jump into the Discord, click the link in the description of this YouTube video, and you can see if I make these changes or what I'm doing. But the next video I post about Microsoft will be the results video of how this performed and how well I did on this trade. But overall, on all the information, all the data I went over, we are leaning with more bullish scenarios, very bullish for Q2, bullish for this play. Price targets look very good. Insiders are selling more than buying. That's the only thing I'm afraid of. Also, all of their buying hasn't been updated. The forum hasn't dropped, so we don't know what the update is. They drop every quarter, every 3 months. Recent buys aren't included in that. I'm going with call options, and I'll be watching this closely. I will be posting in my Discord which one I'm going for. I wish the market was a little more bullish because I'd be able to place my order during the video, but it's not going bullish right now. I want to wait to get a better price, but this is the direction I'm going. We are getting some slowdown here. But that's it for the video right now. The next video, hit the subscribe-y because I'll be doing a bunch of other earnings, and I'll be posting the results of how this turned out. It's only it's going to be probably about $250 when I place the order. I'm going to wait for it to come down a little bit more. I want it around this 248 where it was yesterday. So I'm going to wait for it to come down a drip more, place my order, get into this call, and I would be buying this regardless today, even if I can't get it at this discounted price and I have to get it at 290, 280, somewhere around there. That's okay because earnings, it's going to be dramatic. I'm going to lose that 280 completely in one day, or I'm going to make a few $1,000s in one day. Thanks for watching. Again, hit the subscribe if you want to see how these earning plays turn out, and if you want to see more videos like this that help you get a little bit closer to the goal of retiring young.